Yeah.
Yeah, I got a title match. I got a title match. I got a title match.
Wow. He's boasting about a title match. All right.
Gunther's next.
Ooh. There you go.
What do you think, Dr. Chris?
I think that you're next for Gunther Goldberg.
You do.
I do.
You can't even see my lips moving, huh? Pretty good.
Can't see it at all. No, you are the master.
Doing pretty good, aren't I?
You're the master ventriloquist. Yes, you're like one of those Japanese movies in English.
Oh, right, the dubbing. I see you, Godzilla.
Yes.
I love when the voices are, what are we going to do?
Yes, exactly.
I love that.
What you have a very important task for us tonight.
You're next.
There you go.
Anyway, so good evening, Dr. Chris. And
good evening, Bill Apter.
All to the unscripted maniacs out there, brother.
Ooh, brother. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes,
thank you all for tuning in. So I thought Goldberg's promo was pretty hot last night. I think his face-to-face with Gunther, making Gunther look a little bit scared, backed up a little bit. But when he was face-to-face and they gave him the "you're next," it brought back the good days of Bill Goldberg. It really did. It just brought me back. It was a nice memory. Now, so here's what I have an idea of what they're going to do.
What's that?
They may not do it, but do you already have a preconceived idea as well?
I think it's pretty cut and dry. But what do you think?
Here's what's going to happen. Goldberg is going to win the title. It's going to be a major upset. But during his title win, he's going to get hurt. All of a sudden, the Bronsons are going to come in. Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. Yeah, they're calling themselves the Bronsons now because Braun Breaker is really Bronson Steiner. So
they call themselves the Bronsons?
That's what I heard they're going to call themselves. So
Really?
I think Bronson Reed posted that on Twitter a
I
few
thought he
days
I
ago.
thought he posted big dogs.
No, maybe I thought he posted that, but
Yeah, it was big
now
dogs.
Goldberg is attacked by those two, and then
Okay.
all of a sudden, when he's down and out, Seth Rollins cashes in.
Okay.
Goldberg gets his dream, a title run before he retires, if he retires. Seth Rollins gets the championship, or Goldberg wins and there's no shtick, and he says he'll make an announcement on Monday night, and then he agrees maybe to a match in Saudi Arabia or somewhere else with the belt. So what do you think of that idea? The first one that I threw out with the Money in the Bank thing, if he's truly going to retire, and what do you think they're going to do with this?
I definitely don't think that that's going to happen. I think that they are going to. I think that it's going to be a straight up um, win by Gunther. I think it would be absolutely atrocious for the W. And this is coming from a huge Goldberg fan.
I know you
A
are.
huge fan of Goldberg. I think it would be absolutely atrocious for the WWE to, um, in any form or fashion, uh, negatively impact Gunther in any of this. I think that this should be an old guard passing the torch to a new guard moment. I think it should be exclusively that. We've already had plenty of title reigns from Goldberg. It would be absolutely ridiculous for him to beat Gunther years after competing and cut. Only thing he did was cut a promo, and he's been
Yeah,
for a while, and he comes in and he beats Gunther. I think that doesn't protect Gunther whatsoever. I think that the best business decision to do with this is to have Gunther beat Goldberg because Gunther needs all the heat that he possibly can. And at the end of the day, Goldberg is the person that should be used for Gunther to get more reps and become stronger because Gunther has not been uh, booked very strongly at all
so
this year.
might they, going on your premise, let's say Goldberg loses.
Mm-hmm.
Now remember, this is on NBC, so this is
Yep.
going to be stronger than Peacock and Netflix, so to
Okay.
say,
Yep. Yep.
or on network TV. They want people to talk about something the next day. Let's say they do it your way, but
Mm-hmm.
and Gunther wins, but he gets hurt by a Goldberg spear, and then Seth Rollins gang comes in, beats the crap out of Gunther, and Seth cashes in. What do you think of that?
No, I think Gunther needs to be protected, man. I think at the end of the day, Gunther is the person that needs to be protected. I think it would be a horrible idea to once again make Gunther look like a chump in all of this if he just won the title. I think what
Yeah,
you do is what you should have done if the decision to if the decision was to make Goldberg to have Goldberg come in Atlanta with potentially his last match,
yeah,
I think what you do is you should have had Jey Uso uh, retain the title against Gunther. Then you had the whatever they call the big dogs or whoever they are now.
yeah.
You
The
have
Big
them.
Bronson Dogs.
There you go. You have them attack Jay post match, and then you could have had Seth Rollins cash it in. Then Jay's injured because they could sell the injury angle,
Yeah,
and then Seth cuts a promo, and then you have an opportunity for um, Goldberg to come in. He should have came in with the Seth promo, not a Gunther promo,
yeah. I
because
actually think I think
because
you're
because I
right.
think Goldberg and Seth to
Yep.
me would have been a better match in Saturday Night's main event because Seth would have carried the match more, and you could have had a face-off between Goldberg and Bronson Reed, and that would have been interesting too.
Oh,
Leading up
absolutely.
to,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I like that idea, but I still think this is what's going to happen. I and I don't know. I heard on another internet report, and I forgot who it was, but the reporter said, "Don't think that Goldberg is going to retire that quickly."
Hmm.
So, could there be a Goldberg retirement tour?
Goldberg is pushing 60 years old, man.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
he pops up once every few years. I mean, when was the last match he had? Roman Reigns? Oh,
I
is that
think
the last
so.
match that he
Yeah,
had? And that was what, Elimination Chamber, like
yeah,
probably February a few years ago, probably. And
yeah,
so,
yeah.
I mean, dude will be 59 years old this year.
But
Uh,
wait, knowing him,
see that.
knowing his personality and knowing him personally, I don't think he would come back to lose and go out that way. I just don't see that happening to him. Maybe
He did that for Reigns.
what?
He
No, I
did it
know, but I'm talking about
for
his final match. I,
yeah.
I think he wants to be champion one more time. I
Yeah,
think he would be
so
cashing.
what? I mean, like that. My philosophy on this from a business standpoint is so what? Everybody wants to be champion. I mean, what does that mean? What I mean? So at the end of when it comes to Goldberg is concerned, when it comes to Goldberg, just because he wants to be champion, that means nothing. Because if I'm looking at it from a creative standpoint, and again, this is coming from a Goldberg fan, so what? You want to come in, cut a promo, and become champion just
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
to? No, man. That's
yeah.
like that's bad. That's bad business
I know, but
to risk
I,
to risk your stock in a Gunther, in a Seth Rollins, any of these people. It's a horrible idea risking your stock in building these stars just for one more title reign
they
for Bill
they may
Goldberg. I
they
think that's
may do
horrible
it
business.
because of the whole NBC thing. There's
No, I
so much.
don't. Nah,
Okay,
no.
well,
You
we'll see.
you
We will
can't risk you can't risk your current stars being confiscated in many ways and being not protected. They're not.
To a lot of people, Goldberg is still that star. The reaction that,
No, I mean, again,
yeah,
I like it.
I
I'm
know.
fine with it, but at the same time, man, you got to think bigger than that. You got to think business. You got to think molding your current stars. You don't bring Bruno
They
in to
haven't been doing that. They haven't
you
been
don't
doing
bring listen, you don't bring Bruno in, to beat Triple H. You know what I mean? Like back in 1999. You don't do that. You don't bring in an old star to have one more title reign against a new star that you're developing. Like
it.
that wouldn't make
I
any
get it.
sense.
I get where you're
You-
coming
you-
from, but I don't necessarily agree with it. What about
would you bring Bruno in to beat Triple H in
no? No,
1999 just for the
not
sake
true.
of NBC wanting it,
No, no.
Saturday night's main event? So
It's
how
a
is that
different
different than
time
now? How's that
because
different
it's
than
a
now?
different time. It's a different fan. It's a different business. But
It's not a different fan because because
here's
people
my
don't
other
like go.
scenario.
Listen, people don't like Goldberg, which I think is a stupid idea. I'll
They
talk about
do
that.
like Goldberg.
No, they don't like
Well, they
Goldberg.
did the
Uh,
other night. They certainly did the other night.
no, he gets the initial Goldberg pop, and then people started booing him. People always say Oberg on the socials. People always
Yeah,
say we don't want
that's the
Goldberg. I actually
socials.
defend Goldberg I actually defend Goldberg when people are doing that. I think that's a stupid idea when people do that. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. But at the same time, from a wider perspective, like Goldberg isn't the someone who you want to confiscate building a new star just for the sake of some old school, old guard, one and done type of
Shock
moment.
value because no one's expecting it. They all think Gunther's going to kill him.
Okay, so if Goldberg wins the title, what type of shock value would that get, and how would it benefit the trajectory of pro wrestling in a longer, bigger picture
It
that
won't.
won't do
It's
more
short
harm
term.
than good?
Short
Okay,
term.
so how would it
That's
benefit
what
short?
that's why I said Goldberg wins, Seth Rollins cashes in. I'm going back to that. But here's another scenario we're not thinking of. You know,
That
his
didn't
son
answer
is
my question, my
playing
friend.
what,
That didn't answer
semi
my friend. That
pro
didn't answer my,
football?
that didn't answer my
His son
question,
is
my friend.
ask
So,
me the question
so
again.
yeah. So then let me ask you the question again. How does Goldberg winning the championship, the World Heavyweight Championship, how does that help the trajectory of the WWE when it comes to protecting their current stars
Because Seth Rollins comes in and beats him moments
at
after
the
he wins
expense
the
of
belt.
Gunther?
What's that?
At the expense of Gunther,
Yeah,
Gunther just won the
yeah,
title.
yeah. I know.
Mm, that
I
doesn't
know.
protect him at
Well,
all, man.
that's the way
All right.
I'm looking at it. I'm not
Yeah.
backing up on this one. So here's
Yeah,
another
you never
way.
back up on your things,
No,
Bill.
no,
Even if they
no,
don't make
no.
sense, you never back up, man. All right, but go ahead, go. What's your
All right.
next one, my
Well, it
friend?
doesn't make sense to you. It makes sense to me.
It always makes sense to you, Bill.
It
But
has
go ahead.
to. Well, not
Yeah,
always. I have another
it
ridiculous.
always makes sense to you.
I have another good ridiculous one in a minute. But what
All
about
right, what you got?
Goldberg's son now playing football, right?
Yeah,
So
Gage.
this is, Goldberg brought back the whole family thing.
Yep.
How do we see any involvement from Gage Goldberg in this scenario where he becomes a possible rival for Gunther? Gunther hurts his father. Gunther hurts his father.
No,
What do you think?
no,
No?
no, I
All
don't
right,
see
then
it.
you'll hate this next one too.
I think Gage has got a long way to go. And there's no way that Goldberg would allow his son to come in there not being very skilled. There's Goldberg is a very
Okay.
prideful man. You know him. I've talked to Goldberg before. Goldberg is a very prideful man.
I know that
You know,
Gage will be there.
he-
Gage will be there, and
yeah,
even if it's a
he may be there. Yeah, he may
no,
be there.
no, I
But I
know
don't
it for a fact he will be there.
Yeah, even if he's there, I don't think. I mean, maybe he doesn't run in. Perhaps
Yeah,
that
yeah,
wouldn't be a bad idea. But at the same time, as far as setting this up to an angle, bringing Gage in to compete, no, no. All right,
yeah.
what's your other theory, Bill?
I got a lot of other
I love
things.
these theories, man. These are great.
What if this is a total what if, and you're going to totally knock this out of the park? Total disagreement. Total
Knock it out the
disagreement.
park. You said knock it out the park.
Knock it out of the park in a knock it out of the park in a way where you're going to say no, and it's probably no, but I come up with these wild theories.
Yes.
Before I get to that wild theory, let me go to this wild theory.
Okay.
What did you think of Jacob Fatu's in-ring vignette the other night? When I walked to the refrigerator, when I came back, I was opening my sparkling ice drink, and I thought I heard Jey Uso in the ring. And I
Mhm.
looked, and it was Jacob Fatu.
Okay.
What did you think of? I think Fatu is an incredible, insane ring worker, absolutely fabulous. But I think after seeing him do this, and I brought it up on Time Machine earlier tonight, where they all said, no, 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 he's great, great talker, great talker. And okay, he might be, but that night I thought he was Jey Uso. Um, what did you think of his in-ring vignette? Do you think it made any cut? Did it go too long? Did it catch the audience? I'm not sure it was something that was accepted by me, although his ring work is. My thing was, if you go back to the old days, and it's not the old days anymore, that a guy like him would have been with Fred Blassie or Lou Albano or the Grand Wizard just to talk, just to talk.
Hmm.
But there's nobody there to talk for
Hmm.
him. But let me go back to what did you think of that segment?
I did not see the segment.
Okay, so then we can't just.
No problem. However, I will say this: as far as Jacob Fatu talking, I like his promo work. in short spurts, though. I don't think
Right.
he should be making long promos. I don't. I think you want to protect this character as much as you possibly can. Less is more when it comes to Jacob
Mhm.
Fatu. He's just a killer. You know, he's that type of mentality. And the more you allow him to talk, the more it takes away from the killer instinct
Yep.
mystique that he has. That's my
Yeah,
take.
definitely.
Mhm.
Okay, you ready for number 3?
What's that?
This is the one you want to know what kind of drugs I'm on. It's my tick crack.
There you go.
So the big match,
Big Max
against
John.
John Cena
Hmm.
against Ron the Truth Killings.
Okay.
The bell rings. They start circling each other.
Mm.
They grab a hold of each other and they hug. The Rock has made the deal. Ron Cena is now part of John Cena's family. Becomes the R-Truth, from all the love they gave him, becomes the most dastardly heel in WWE for a short period of time, of course. Okay, is that right? Okay.
You know, well,
I just envision the two of them locking up and then hugging and go, "We fooled them." Yeah, Brock, thank you for the money. Rock's on the board of directors. He's the guy that brought him back.
this is reason number 839 of why I love Bill Apter. I
Well,
just
thank you. Always
I
coming
just
up with these weird
I
angles.
just love Bill Apter.
Well, thank you. The feeling's mutual in a guy way. But
Yes, indeed.
can you
Yes, yes.
imagine if he becomes
No, I can't imagine
Ron
it. No,
Cena?
I just
Man, fans would
man,
go
I think
crazy.
you need to
They'd go
stay off.
nuts. They'd go nuts.
I think you
It would
stay
be
off
an
the
old
tick.
school hostile crowd. They would
Okay.
start throwing their clothing because you can't bring any objects into the building.
Wow. Okay. I think you should stay off the tick crack.
You
Bill
do?
Apple.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. Yes,
Okay.
I don't
What?
see any benefit to that. Why in the world would you make
No, you
Ron
wouldn't.
Killings?
You wouldn't.
Go
It's
ahead,
just
finish. I was about to say.
it's just a it's just that the old heat that really isn't anymore. The crowds that used to react, right now all the heels are either cool or they're funny. But if you want a deep hatred of
Mm.
the heel, my goodness, that would do it.
I think that would sabotage the heat that comes with John Cena's heel run.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It should absolutely. I think John Cena's heel run should be the focus of SmackDown. I think if you make Ron Killings a heel, I think that he would automatically be the second heel. He would be underneath, or at least the second heel, probably even more than that. He would at least be under Cena, which doesn't make sense because he has an opportunity to win the championship, or it's not going to be for a title, but he has the opportunity to go for the championship if he's the foe of John Cena.
Wait a minute, did they announce that this was not for the title?
They didn't announce that it was for the title. They didn't announce that it
So
was the
that
title.
might be the asterisk here.
Mm.
Although I thought didn't Cena say that I'm call him out and say he's ready to give him do the title thing? I thought that's what he said.
Not that I know of. I mean,
Okay, all
it
right.
could be. You could be right, but I don't recall them saying that. At least on the graphics, that they didn't say it was for the title.
Okay.
They usually put it on the graphics. So, yeah, especially since they have the Punk match with um,
Cena.
Night of Champions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess this is my question for you, Bill Apter. What do you think of the R-Truth return project so far? Do you think that it's cooled off? Do you think that WWE has failed so far in the heat and the hotness and the buzz that came with R-Truth coming back? What do you
I
think?
don't, not yet. It's too soon to tell, but they already on Raw they were calling him R-Truth much more than Ron Killings. So that sort of made me go like, wait a minute, didn't they say it was
Right.
going to be Ron Killings? But no, the second time around, like the second part of the story, I think the heat was there. It wasn't as hot as the first time, the shock value.
Mhm.
So Saturday night's going to decide whatever they do on Saturday night's main event. That's going to decide how hot that angle stays, or if it just. I mean, if there's no John, let's say that passes by, John Cena is successful. What do you do with Ron Killings after that? Where does he go?
He goes back into mid card land, which would be horrible. Like
Yeah.
that's the reason why I think it has the potential to fail. Why not? Why not put the rocket on his back? I mean, at the end of the day, you have Ron Killings coming in from the fans. Fans are bringing him back. Huge moment, huge return, just for him to be back into the mid card. That would not make sense to me
Oh,
whatsoever.
wait a minute. Wait a minute. What if? What, I'm going to steal from my other idea. What if he wins the belt and Seth Rollins and his gang come in and kill him? And that would
No,
that
man.
that heat on Seth Rollins would be the biggest heat they have had anywhere. But again, it kills off Ron Killings.
Exactly.
You just
As
brought him
soon
back.
Yeah, and you
You
don't do
just
that.
brought him
I
back.
don't think I don't
Yeah.
think you do that at the expense of Ron Killings. I
And
think
you can't really put him back mid card, so to say, because who's he going to wrestle? Who's he going to work with mid card? Who is there allied with John Cena? There's no one allied with him that he
Logan
could go
Paul
and
will be the only person.
who?
Logan Paul.
Yeah, I was just going to say that would
Yeah,
be
but I don't care
okay.
about
I don't
Logan
feel it.
Paul
I don't
Killings.
feel it.
I don't care
I
about
only
that.
feel uh, Ron Cena and
There you
John
go.
Cena. That's the
Here's the thing, Bill. I think I am not happy with the heat that's came off of Ron Killings. I think it has been a failure so far. He cut the promo. He cut his hair. That generated some interest, and that was a promo that happened last week on Raw.
Mhm.
And the following week, he doesn't even appear. So I'm like, huh? Like why in the world would you have this promo on Raw? People are excited about it. People are saying, we want Truth, bringing him back. They want to see our Truth. You want to make him one of the most prominent figures in the WWE right now. And this all leads to a non-title match on
Well,
SmackDown.
again, we don't
I
know
don't
if it's
get it, man.
non-title. No,
I
we
do
don't know
think
that
it's
for sure.
non-title, and I don't think it's for the title. I'm almost
Well,
positive.
then of course they can make if Ron Killings wins, then they set up the title match.
I wouldn't be opposed to that. The only thing I don't think that he'll win because I think they'll protect Cena going into Night of Champions.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. You
probably,
don't want
but
to have him lose. Yeah.
there's got to be some sort of a controversy there.
The only thing I can see is Cena does a DQ schmage, puts him in the AA. CM Punk protects him, comes out, makes the save, and then at Night of Champions, what you do is you have Ron Killings come out and attack John Cena again, which leads into an actual title match. Have Truth win the title at Saturday night's main event, and then lose it at SummerSlam to Cena.
Or it sets up um, Cena wins and the CM Punk Cena match. Ron Killings interferes and CM Punk wins, and it's Ron Killings' fault. Could do that too.
Yeah, I don't see Punk winning the WWE Championship from John Cena.
I
No,
can see it
because
more than
because
Ron Killings.
because essentially what you're doing there is you're doing just another match between Killings and Cena. I mean, like that wouldn't really, if there's no stakes there, that'll just cool off the Killings buzz.
Who do you think is going to be the final John Cena opponent in Boston toward the end of the year? Who do you see being that opponent?
I think you do Cody. I
Yeah.
think you do Cody.
Mhm.
But what I think you do is probably heading there. See, you can do a couple things there, either at Survivor Series or that day. What you can do is you can have this all become full circle. The Rock comes out to attempt to to help Cena
Mhm.
potentially, but he's actually helping Cody. Cody's the one who sold his soul, and he turns on Cena, and now The Rock is with Cody because
Turns against Cena. Against Cena.
against Cena. You're right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
always hear when people say he turns on somebody.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I mean, he could turn on Cena, but hey, that's not my
No
not my
topic,
business.
man. No insult.
That's another topic for another day.
We're not doing that.
But what I think what you do, Bill, is that would be interesting because I do think at the end of this Rock stuff, Cody's going to be with The Rock. I think
Yeah.
that it
Yeah.
would make good with all the criticism that came with The Rock not showing at WrestleMania. I think that would be as close as making good to this whole debacle than you possibly could get. So
Yeah.
that would be Cody putting Cena over as a heel at the end of his career. I think that's a good way to end it.
Can you imagine if Cena retains the title and he says, I'm retiring with the title. Goodbye. Now we have two general managers going, there's no champion. There's no belt. He took the belt. What do we
I think
do?
that would be a cool idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's an easy fix. I think what you do is you just make the Royal Rumble for the WWE Championship.
Yep. 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 That's exactly where I was going with that, Dr. Chris.
There you go. Yep,
Exactly where I was going with that. All
indeed.
right. Why don't you, by the way, before we leave here, um, good good luck and prayers to Liv Morgan.
Yes.
An accident that happened when she's on the right on the tip of the top of her current career.
Hmm.
I hate to see that happen with her.
I agree. I agree. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll be talking about that on Pancakes and Power Slams. The psychological effects of a sports injury. So, yeah, so it's going to be very informative and gives the listeners a better understanding of just how serious sports injuries can get as far as just emotionally and psychologically. So,
Especially in pro wrestling because
oh yeah,
you're kind of, and I never would have said this ages ago, you're scripted in a storyline for a possible long time to come, and now it's, what do we do?
and you know this, Bill, more than myself or anyone else is watching. You understand this from an old school perspective. There weren't guaranteed contracts,
No.
so you didn't. A lot of people would not even admit or not even tell anybody about their injury, especially concussions,
Yeah,
because what they would do is that if they told somebody the energy, they have to write them off, they had to take them off the tour, they had to take them off the loop, and then that gives someone the risk of losing their spot. And without guaranteed contracts, you never want to lose your spot, because if you lost your spot, you potentially lost a lot of money that comes with
even
it.
with a guaranteed contract, like back in WCW, if somebody got injured, they made a lot of money staying home.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's a lot of money
Right,
staying home.
right,
But
right.
without a guaranteed contract, you didn't have that luxury. I mean, so it was tough, but you still lose a lot of motivation. I'll be talking about that on the show. All
Okay,
right, Bill Apter, where can we find
Dr.
you?
Chris, right
Where can
here
we?
at X at After One Wrestling.
Yes,
And
indeed.
what
Yes.
about you, Dr. Chris?
Follow me at Chris Prolific and go and check out the Pancakes and Power Slam show. Be sure to sub there. I'll be talking about the psychological effects of a sports injury right now.
Wait a minute. I'm looking at behind my computer here, and there are people lining up to follow you right behind my computer. Just get in line.
Okay. Well, I thank you. I thank
They're
you
in
for
line
that
and
already. Very much. I appreciate that, man.
It's okay.
This guy right here, Bill Apter. I am Dr. Chris. This is the Unscripted. Have a good night, buddy.
Good night from Dr. Chris and Apter.